Back to Everyday Kentucky. Well, Doug Smart is a well-known author who spent almost 25 years working in network primetime television. Now, he started his career on the Lawrence Welk Show, where he rose to becoming the associate director. Could you imagine that? So in his second act, he was a college professor at Asbury University.
And this morning, he's hanging out with us right here, right now on our good old hard couch. Doug, we appreciate you being in here with us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So even when I was reading a little bit about your background, I got really excited. I mean, you have a long list of accolades. I mean, Golden Girls of all things.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your time was spent working on productions like that?
Well, yeah, I started off, like you said, on the Lawrence Welk Show as the production assistant, just a gopher, you know, and I was able to work my way up to being associate director. And from that, people in Hollywood started noticing me a little bit, and I got a call from the producer of the Oscars who said, "I'm looking for an associate director for the Academy Awards. Would you be interested?" And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And once I had done the Oscars, I kind of spun off into a new orbit, because once you do a show, a high-profile show like that, people start learning who you are, and my phone started ringing. And then I had always wanted to get in a sitcom. I think actually in my book I had mentioned that I Love Lucy was a huge influence on me when I was a kid. And I had a chance early on to apprentice with Desi Arnaz, who created the multi-camera sitcom as we know it. The multi-camera sitcoms that they do today, whatever they are, you know, whether it's Friends or Seinfeld or How I Met Your Mother or Big Bang Theory, they still do it the same way, basically, that Desi invented back in 1951. So to be able to learn sitcom from the guy who invented it was a real blessing for me, especially since I was a kid watching I Love Lucy anyway, dreaming of going to Hollywood and beginning television. So I've got my way into sitcoms and started on a show called Benson, which was a spin-off of a show called Soap. And then I did the Newhart show, the one in New England, where he was an innkeeper in New England. Did the very first episode that featured Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, the three idiots.
Yes.
It became so iconic. And spent my next 15 years working in sitcom primarily. So.
Wow.
That's incredible. I mean, with so many, you know, shows like that on your resume, what's your greatest memory of working on the Hollywood side?
There's so many.
I'd say so. Yeah.
There are so many. I think doing my first Oscars was a big one, because that was something that was so huge, and you've got everybody in Hollywood you want to impress out in the audience at the theater watching you. You've got the network people watching. We had the presidents of the network sitting behind us in the truck while we're doing the show, tapping us on the shoulder going, "Can you make it go faster? Can you make it go faster?" And then, of course, you know, 300 million people watching live worldwide. You know, any mistake you make, everybody sees it.
A lot of people are going to see it.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to see it. So I think that was probably a big moment for me, my first Oscar telecast.
So let's talk about the two books that you brought in today. Tell us about them.
The first book I wrote was the memoir, Name Dropping, My Life in Hollywood Among Celebrities Who Won't Remember Me. And it started off because my grandkids only knew me as a college professor. By the time they came along, I was teaching college. I had left Hollywood. I felt called to leave Hollywood and teach the next generation coming up. So they never knew me as a television person. So I started writing this thing. It was COVID, and I was writing this thing for them. And I showed some chapters to some people, some professional people, and I said, "This is pretty good. You ought to think about putting this in a book." So I did. I put it out as a book. It's available on Amazon, and it's done very well. It's got 4.7 out of 5 stars reviews. The reviews are very good. And I decided to donate all of the profits I make from all the books to charitable organizations. Now, I want people to understand I am not a charity. I don't represent a charity. But I am dedicating all the profits that I make from the sale of these books to registered charities. I've been able to, so far, help the Western Kentucky Tornado Relief, the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief. I'm very, very fortunate to be in a position where I don't need the money, so I'm happy to donate it to worthy causes. So that's how that book started. And then I had this idea for this gunslinger book that I decided it had to come out. I told my wife, I said, I've got this idea, it's just got to come out. Gower Gulch is a real place in Hollywood. It was a place where out of work farmers or ranch hands or cowboys in the 1930s during the Depression wound up, and where they could get work as extras in Western movies. And it was a street corner. They would hang out on the street corner, and the buses or the trucks from the studios would come by and pick them up, put them in the back of a truck, take them out to the location, and they would work on Hopalong Cassidy or John Wayne movie or whatever it was they were shooting back in the 30s and 40s. But they didn't have any budget for wardrobe, so they had to come dressed as cowboys. So it was not unusual to go past this corner, Sunset and Gower in Hollywood, and see 30, 40, 50 cowboys in their cowboy boots, cowboy hats, gun rigs, standing on the sidewalk, waiting for a truck to come and take them to be an extra in the movie for $5 a day. So my hero is a former Texas Ranger who's been released from the Rangers, fired from the Rangers, and he finds his way to Hollywood, and he's working as an extra in the Western movies. And once people find out he used to be a Ranger, they say to him, actors, I've got this little problem I need help with. I don't want anyone to find out about.
Yeah.
Can you help me out? So he becomes kind of a fixer in Hollywood, and he gets into all kinds of trouble.
That sounds very interesting.
I know, right?
I think it is. And again, the reviews have been absolutely fantastic. The Gunslinger is getting 4.9 out of 5 stars.
Oh, that's even better.
That's even better than 4.7,
right?
but they're both
Even
great.
better, yeah.
That's fantastic. We appreciate you. Really quickly, you can get them on Amazon.
Yes, I have a Facebook page. They can go to the Mustard Seed Workshops Facebook page. There's a picture of each one with a direct link to Amazon. They can just click on the link and
away they go.
Excellent.
Away they go.
Thank you for
Perfect.
being here.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate
Doug.
you.
Oh, my
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
watching
it.
us. We appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Every day, Kentucky.